Good morning, all of you. It's kind of wonderful feeling to see you all. We all know the new normal is to work from home and see each one of us on cameras. I think we joined in what 5-7 minutes earlier, and I could clearly understand the curiosity of Mr. Sandeep to look good on the camera, and all of us have that. I think thanks a lot. It's great, wonderful seeing you, and also thank you all for accepting our invite. It kind of obviously shows the support what each other have for us. And in the backdrop, and also each one of you look absolutely bright and sharp and beautiful. And in the backdrop of the COVID-19 that what each one of us are going through, TeamLease has been hosting webinars for about 13-14 weeks. With industry leaders, with experts to actually understand what's going on. As our chairman Manish says, we are all in the same storm, but in different boats, right? And I also believe at some point of time, while you're wearing the mask and stuff like that and getting into the road, but sometimes I feel, are we taking knife to a gunfight, right? It kind of gives you that feeling also. The entire situation, the entire environment around you has become so volatile and vulnerable. Each one of us are trying to grapple what's going on. And in my opinion, it kind of looks to be a developing situation. We all thought that the lockdown was over, we're kind of back to the normal, but again, there is extended lockdowns coming in various states and various cities. Having said that, the only thing is humanity never loses hope, as we say. And today's webinar as well hovers around focusing on putting India back to work, and also to speak about the road for recovery. So we have about 1 hour slotted, and I know that some people have a hard stop at about 12 o'clock. So we have about 1 hour clear, and it's our privilege and honor to have eminent leaders from their respective industry joining us. So I would start my quick introduction with Mr. Rajesh Uppal, absolute veteran, has about 39 years of experience overall, and out of that 35 years in Maruti Suzuki. I've had the privilege and honor of working closely with Mr. Uppal, and always has been enjoying and always has been hospitable whenever I go to kind of meet up. Thanks a lot, sir, for joining in such a short notice. And we have Ms. Kalpana Swaminathan, Senior Vice President HR for HomeLane, which is a startup. Thanks a lot, Kalpana. She has about 13 plus years of experience, worked in organizations like DHL, Reliance Retail, and Spencer's, and so on and so forth. So thanks, Kalpana, for joining in as well. And we have Sandeep Luthra.
Sudeep Luthra.
Sudeep Luthra, sorry, who looks bright and handsome, who's HR of Orange Business Services, has about 25 years of experience spent across Nokia Solutions Networks, Taj Group of Hotels, and stuff like that. And we have Abhijit Basak, who's joining us from IFB, who's a finance head, has about 9 years plus of experience, worked in organizations like Bagma Finca. So thanks a lot. Without much ado, I would like to get things started. Right? Fundamentally, as I was telling you, with the current backdrop of COVID-19, business resuming the business, I think putting India back to work will be challenging for all of us. But however, how to infuse confidence with the employees to resume the business operations, and what are the few measures and protocols that each one of the organizations are implementing is what everybody is very curious to know, right? So taking that into consideration, there are two questions. May I request Rajesh Uppal to step in and kind of give us some kind of a I would say input on that. One is how Maruti today is looking at infusing confidence in employees to resume business operations, number one. And number two, what are the measures or protocols that Maruti as an organization has implemented to ensure safe working environment? Over to you, Mr. Rajesh.
Okay. Thanks, Venkat. Uh, one thing very clearly, manufacturing has never seen work from home till now. And COVID is one thing where, work from home as a culture started. So as of now, a lot of white collar work can be done from home. But yes, manufacturing cannot be done from home. So you have to have people on the office work and they should be there. So we gradually started from sometime in May and started ramping up our production and going forward and all. But in order to do that, I think the first and foremost is uh, have employee feel that they are safe and comfortable in work. I think that that's something which is most critical to demonstrate and being seen over there to be done there. So to do that, what we did was we created a small something called COVID task force team, whose role is to really look at all the policies and procedures and all being sent by the government, and also they also studied what is required to be done to really have that kind of safety and comfort for the employee over there. So we came out with a set of SOPs to be followed within the plant so that we feel everything is safe. Now that's something which is implemented there, demonstrated to all the employees first. See, this is what we have done for you in the plant, so that you have a confidence of coming to the, or rather you say you feel safer in the office than safer anywhere outside. I think that kind of processes were set up in the whole organization to look at that. That's one. And these were supported by a central helpline, company doctors talking to everybody and giving lectures on what to do and what not to do, really to make them comfortable to work and being safe. So while doing so, we did a lot of detailed process in each one. And the first one very clearly was tracking employee health, because this is one pandemic where employees, health is a concern. So employee came in the center and his health need to be monitored. So we set up a process where everybody health will be monitored every day from his home through an app. We call it as a Wellness Mitra app, and so that you track their health of that, not only health but with other parameters like your sense of taste, sense of smell, and the cough and anything around that and all, and also you are in containment zone or something like that. So all tracking and monitoring of all employees being done. And today we do that not only for our regular employee, also our contract labor, also on our supplier community. Today more than 50,000 people are being tracked through these apps on a daily basis, on a real-time basis.
Fantastic.
Second was very clearly making the whole factory safe and all. So continuous disinfection, the sanitization, and social distancing and all. And today, at any point of time, not more than 33% of the employee can be housed in the plant, and those the seats are fixed, the locations are fixed, and also that those social distancing norms and distance sanitization, toilet SOP to go to toilet, not more than one person can go, and all those things and all. We did that and all. And also all the PPEs and all for all the employees and so on and so forth to handle that. So in nutshell, I think, and we also got a lot of government people to come and audit, and all the experts to come and see that something more can be done on that, including our canteens, because we have a large number of, and today at any point of time, more than 15,000 people are coming in our plants. Now, managing social distancing, maybe a canteen was revamped to look at that, and they are eating food. The distance of 6 feet are being maintained. All the office people were served at their seats and so on and so forth. So we did everything possible to ensure that people feel safe, people feel comfortable, and all the government norms are complied to, and also all the social distancing, everything we do that being implemented. Along with that, also we do contact tracing log for the employees. So our app also look at the with whom you are there, and or you are alerted that you are there more than such a point. Also, technology also is being used very extensively to make sure that we implement and track the adherence to all the. There are COVID marshal roaming around the company. Wherever they find there's some violation going on, immediately get highlighted to the central team, to the managers to ensure that. So making whole SOPs, monitoring all those SOPs, and also making sure that we adhere to all of them. I think that really giving a lot of confidence to people around that is a good place to work.
Amazing, sir. I think thanks a lot. I can understand, considering Maruti being such a large organization, I know the effort that's required to keep the place safe and clean. I think thanks a lot for that input. Sudeep, coming to you to kind of answer the same question that I had for Mr. Rajesh. Or what is in your view that your organization is doing to infuse confidence in employees and obviously resume the business operations, and also the protocol that's been set?
Sure, Venkat. But before I start that, so let me give you a little brief about the company I work for. So Orange Business Services is a telecom IT company, part of the Orange Group, and we are into B2B segment, providing the connectivity solutions to corporates. So work from home is not a new concept, in the context of our company. Unlike manufacturing, where you can say, I mean, you can't have cars being manufactured from home, but we have practically 100% of our workforce who are digitally savvy, who work on laptops or desktops, and they have all of them have remote access. So work from home has not been a very big issue for us. So we have very smoothly switched on to the work from home. Now, in terms of how do we infuse confidence and bring people back? So one definitely is that we are having a constant communication, from the leadership with all the employees, and at the ground level, managers are keeping in touch with all employees, and we are updating them on the various developments that we are having, how company is actually reacting to this situation. And being part of global setup, we are also constantly guided by our global health and safety teams. So it's not that we are working in isolation. We need to follow the global protocols which are there, global communication templates, and constantly do the reporting as well as seek guidance on case to case basis. Now, in terms of our preparation, definitely, I mean, we are following all the local government, state government guidelines for dealing with this situation, and we are reading ourselves in terms of you know one is the infrastructure readiness, I will say. So when I say infrastructure readiness, that would mean things like putting the new SOPs in place for, let's say, employee entry or the visitors entry or vendor entry, where you have definitely visible stickers and all, where you need to maintain social distancing. You need to have your temperature check as you enter. We have also developed an in-house app that we call as Orange Cares, where a person, before the person starts from home, person is actually going to answer certain questions, and then in case person is from a containment zone or is having any, let's say, symptoms like fever and all, then the app will itself show the red alert, and also maybe email will go to his manager. And then if person comes to office, then again he shows that the green signal in the app to the reception there, and then the person is actually allowed entry. And this app is also going to help us to track the attendance, the live attendance, that how many people are going to report to office. So this app we see is going to definitely be great use to us. And then in terms of our other SOPs, we are also looking at, let's say, rearranging or re-looking at the entire employee transport arrangement, because we are providing almost, especially in Gurgaon, pick up and drop facility. And now in this COVID situation, we have to relook at the employee transport arrangement. We have to look at the, as I said, employee investor entry and exit arrangements. We also have to look at how we are going to ensure social distancing in common areas like lifts, in pantry, in cafeteria, in washrooms. As Mr. Uppal mentioned, that we are definitely, we have put in place the very strict protocols, plus some visible stickers which will actually guide people that okay, where they can go, where they cannot go. And then second thing is making the facilities available for, let's say, masks. So anybody who comes to office would be given to wear maybe 2 or 3 masks in it, if they are disposable masks, or maybe they are reusable masks. So we are procuring masks which are of the global standards, as advised by our global health and safety team. And then definitely availability of, let's say, hand sanitizers, foot door openers, face shields, PPE kit, and also all that is also going to be made available. And also we are going to, we have a we are going to have a protocol in place for the disinfection of the entire floor and the workstations as and when the shift changes, so that so there's no possibility of any infection. And then definitely we need to keep our other facilities ready. Let's say we need to create a isolation room, and also have our medical room to deal with any kind of emergencies, in case somebody is not well and all. So these are things that we are putting in place. So at this moment, I mean, we are not looking at people returning, in the sense that this is still a area which is under discussion. But from our side, we have absolutely, we are absolutely ready to, bring back people to office. But just that the date is still not decided, and we are looking at, maybe we are still watching this situation how it evolves. But from our side, we have made all the arrangements and taking all the precautions. So everything is in place right now.
Fantastic, sir. I think that was a very detailed explanation. Coming into Abhijit, considering I think the business that you are in, again, from an IFP standpoint, from a manufacturing perspective, I think we would like to hear from you, from your side as well. I think before you do that, I'm a proud owner of IFB dishwasher, which I procured in the recent lockdown,
Right.
because I couldn't wash the utensils. That was the order that was given by my wife. But nevertheless, it's good to be your customer as well, and good that you're our customer as well. I think just wanted to understand from your side.
Venkat, to be honest with you, just to give you a background first, IFB is into home appliances as well as into engineering. So
Absolutely.
our flagship is into home appliances. So yes, COVID has taught us a lot. Like there have been, lot of business scenario changes, wherein we have now embraced the digital mode of technology, which we were not used to. So previously we had a lot of traveling within the company, which for the meetings and everything. So that we have now transformed into digital modes. We are using Skype, we are using Zoom and everything. So that digital transformation is one of the most important thing that COVID has brought. To add to this, as of now, the employee morale are totally down. I mean, people are very shaky because they're concerned about their life, their family's life. They're concerned about the security of their jobs, the market conditions. So people are very shaky now. So in order to address that, we are having regular webinars and webinars, video webinars, and all those stuff, wherein the senior leaderships are stepping in, and they are taking it forward so that people down the line they get the confidence. So that installing of confidence is something which we are looking at. And apart from that, whenever we have started offices, because we are scattered across the country, we have a huge network of our own offices as well as the franchisee network. So putting them back into work was a challenging task. So we have designed the SOP, as Mr. Luthra, as Mr. Uppal had already said. We have also designed these SOPs, and we have got those implemented across the companies. So adherence of this SOP is a must for us. And on top of that, we are regularly following the sanitizing and everything, temperature check and all those stuff. You can understand that since we are with the franchising network as well, so we have to support them at this point of time. So we are doing that very well. So we are buying them those thermometers, digital thermometers, and on top of that, to add to the business as well, we have launched the sanitizer as a product as well. So IFP is now selling sanitizers, wherein we are now selling it to the households as well as for the industrial usage. So these are something which we have started off. And again, on an HR perspective, yes, the company has granted special leave for the people who are affected by COVID, and then they have enhanced the medical premium, medical payouts that actually helps the people to, get the confidence back. So these are some of the things which we are now following.
Fantastic, Abhijit. I think that's really good in detail. Kalpana, also very curious to understand, considering the business that you guys are in, how you guys are tackling this current situation, both from a market perspective as well as from a confidence building within the employees.
Sure. Thanks. So quick 10-second intro about HomeLane. HomeLane is a startup headquartered in Bangalore, and we're operational in all metros across the country. And we are in the business of home interiors. So we do fixed furniture, for our customers. So new homeowners are typically our customers, and right now we're also in the process of also doing refurbishing for some of the homes which are like 10 years old, 15 years old, etc. Now it's very different for us, right? So because this is a very traditional business which was driven by architects, and we're sort of trying to remodel the whole thing. So the first thing for us was to also see if there is a different way for us to do the whole thing, right? From an SOP standpoint, like all of the others mentioned, we first had to see which are the different places that we're operating in. We have a huge team which is based out of office, a tech team and a product team. So we have colleagues in experience centers, we have colleagues in factory, we have a warehouse, we have offices. So the first part was to sort of reassure the entire ecosystem that everything is fine. And there's obviously a lot of stigma also associated with COVID. So the first part of it was to sort of tell them that the organization is with them through the entire process. Just like the way it's new for everybody else, it's new for the organization as well. And building that trust and gaining that trust was very, very important. We then sort of classified or reclassified our employee segments, depending on where they are based out of. And we then said whether they will permanently work from home or how they will work. And like everyone has batches, we also sort of constituted it. I think the key has been in sort of constant communication with people and sort of relooking at our own policies, right? So one, from a medical insurance standpoint, there are a few things that a lot of organizations do. But I think what is important is also that for people who are like at a factory level, who say that, a test actually costs me 4,500 or 5,000, should I come upfront and disclose that I'm unwell or I have some symptoms? As much as technology is helping, all of us know that there are also asymptomatic cases which are on the rise. So I think those were some of the things that we put together, saying that, okay, if you go ahead and you want to test and your test turns out negative, there is some part of your testing that we will take care of. Small interventions like that has helped us build confidence in terms of our employee network. We also have two huge marketplaces that we are running, right? So it's important that it's not just employee, but the partner ecosystem also have to necessarily have that confidence, right? And finally, we have employees who go to each of our customers' houses and sort of convert them into beautiful homes. Now, customers will also have to have that confidence, and they will have that confidence only if each of our colleagues is confident about the entire process. So there's a daily screening that happens. People answer questions. People know that there is no stigma around this, right? So if I'm unwell, I'm going to come forthcomingly and tell that I'm sort of unwell, or I have a few symptoms that I'm sort of exhibiting. These are some of the small things that we've done, other than a couple of things that, in the interest of time and not sort of wanting to repeat what others have spoken, these are some of the things that we've done. And we see a huge impact in terms of not having lost employee trust. I think in a digital era and in an era right now where we're not really having a physical contact, one part of it is building trust. Second, and I think the most important part, is not losing trust. I think this is sort of helped us ensure that the trust is something that we continue to have from our colleagues.
Absolutely. I think thanks a lot, Kalpana. I think thanks a lot to everyone. And also, as we always say, necessity is the mother of invention. Being the staffing giant in the country, we've started selling PPE units as well. So if any of you are interested, please ping us. We'll be all the more happier to do that. Going to the next question is also, while I think we actually spoke about SOP, making sure the employees are safe and environment is safe and so on and so forth. But road to recovery is also, I think, in parallel need to be worked, right? Because finally we're all in business and we know how fast that we can turn around. So I think wanted to start with you, Mr. Sudeep. From a business perspective, in terms of road to recovery, I think what are the thoughts quickly, maybe 1 or 2 minutes that you can share, and then I could go to Mr. Rajesh and
Sure. Sure, Venkat. So definitely when we talk of road to recovery, one definitely is the monitoring, as I said earlier. So we are monitoring the whole thing at the global level, regional level, and the country level. And then we also have a crisis team in place to suggest changes, to suggest the SOPs, to raise issues, and also to find solutions, to various unseen or seen circumstances that are there. Now, our endeavor is that we keep definitely all our customers engaged. But this is a time when not just us, we are not in isolation. Maybe everybody with whom we are working, especially our customers, our vendors, are also going through the same, turbulent times. So most important thing is that you stay in touch with your customers and set the expectations right. And we have been able to definitely deliver what we promised. And at this moment, I can say that definitely there is a high level of customer satisfaction, because when the crisis comes, maybe the perception is that okay, we may or may not be able to deliver, but probably we have been able to deliver everything remotely, and it has not impacted the customer promise at all. Similarly, it's the employee experience that we also need to look at. So from the employee perspective also, we have been able to deliver that same digital and caring employee experience that we would have otherwise delivered. Now it's also a question of setting expectations, because last 3 months there are a lot of learnings, because and there was no precedent to this kind of situation. So whatever learnings have been there, I think we need to set the expectations right. So we just need not just set the systems right, but we also need to set the expectations right for H220, because this thing is not going to go away, in next 1 month or two. It's going to be there. And we need to, and then I think what we need to do is also to rework or relook at all our systems and processes, especially if I'm talking from HR perspective. How we can definitely continue with, let's say, the something as simple as maybe the remote recruitment, remote sourcing, remote recruitment, remote interviewing, remote joining, remote induction, remote onboarding, and then maybe a remote tool training, and then definitely the remote delivery model, from employee perspective and from the customer perspective. And also maybe when I'm talking employee perspective, make sure that everything that is to be delivered as HR service delivery to the employee is delivered keeping in mind the same standards which were there earlier, or maybe exceeding them. So today, I mean, we went to the extent of let's say tying up with the security agency to, let's say, people who were exiting, they would always be leavers in the system, and leavers need to submit back their IT assets, their laptops, their tokens, and whatnot. So we even went to the extent of tying up with a external vendor, where we actually gave vendor the addresses of our leavers, and this vendor then approached the person leaving, and went to the person's house, keeping in mind all the SOPs and all the cautions, precautions, PP, mask, everything, and collected back the assets and delivered it back to the office. So employee can also do his clearance, and we also are in possession of our asset, because being an IT telecom company, there is a very, very critical information which is there on each laptop. So these are some of the new models that we have evolved, and and I think definitely it has evolved to the extent that now it can definitely continue for some more time, or as long as it is required to continue. So that's going to be the new normal now. So we need to still continuously evolve, and then see what is the new challenge, and then be agile in our approach, be flexible, be agile, and be ready to adapt.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for that. Rajesh, sir, from your side, considering the footfalls into the dealership would have reduced, and that's actually the assumption, but I think nevertheless, how are you handling, maybe how is Maruti looking at this current point of time from a road to recovery perspective?
As this era, employee health or a person health is in the center of things. We have to relook at the whole process of right from manufacturing of car to delivery to be seen again. So if I bucket that whole recovery, so it will be maybe in 4 segments I can put it in. One is the strategize how to work. As you said, we created SOP for our dealership to open, and also our workshops to open, and that had a very strong element of digital in it, so that contactless, and you can work with all our customers remotely and deliver the car at their home, bookings and everything around. And also we had a very strong digital to ensure that the new norm can be built over there. And happy to share that we are finding a very, very good response on that, and today the numbers we are getting and the adoption we are getting of the new SOP is phenomenally good, and we're getting very positive response from our customer on doing that, so that we can reach back to, we are fast inching toward the normal working at all the dealership, despite the fact that somewhere some lockdown in some area happening around, which again putting into second point of review, and which Sudeep just said about the review, all the processes need to be done. And all the processes were looked at from a contactless standpoint, right from opening door to your taps and your water coolers and all. Make sure that all are contactless and are working, so that you can follow all the SOPs around to handle that. This is more operational level. But similarly, all the strategic processes of, how to get material from our suppliers and how to manage your gates and how to manage everything around. What are your inventory norms? Looking at all those, lockdowns happening around. I think we need to review everything around so that we can keep running smoothly in our business per se. Third is the relearning. Now, one major change has happened post-pandemic is the way we do learning for that. So for us, continuous learning by our employees and our business partners is a very critical part to happen over there. And then in that way, I think the new way of learning is becoming a very critical part to happen there and all. So, e-based learnings or even the engagement of employee at home with their families around using all the modern tools around to ensure that we learn new way of working and we adopt new way of working and all, because large workforce at white collar level works from home today, or maybe they work in a hybrid way. Sometimes they come to office, or most of the time they work from home. So engagement of all of them is very critical, and we are set up a lot of process to ensure that to happen, and also their comfort level and all. And anybody, family member or somebody get positive, then there's a central team who make sure that we keep on talking to them on a regular basis, advising them and giving them all the inputs around doing that. But I think most important thing which Sudeep also said is at this point around we need to re-emerge as a new winner, where agility and flexibility is the norm of working. So we need to make sure that we recover, but we are agile enough to quickly change the way we are working and all, whether it's ramp up our production or re-looking at our new suppliers for somewhere if it is not working properly for us and all, or looking at your whole dispatch processes to all our dealers around. I think you need to look at the new emerged scenario with a lot of agility, a lot of flexibility to ensure that we continue our business going forward. So I think this whole 360 way of change which need to be brought in to ensure that we emerge as a winner in the new post-pandemic era.
Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. Abhijit, over to you on the same lines. Right. How was your organization looking at from a road to recovery perspective? I know your dishwasher sales would have jumped, but nevertheless, just wanted to understand.
Right. So Venkat, being a finance professional, I will get you more into finance and business.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this COVID era has actually brought a change in the way you do business. So that is the only reason why our dishwasher sale has gone up manifold. And apart from this, in the month of June, the consumer durable industry has witnessed almost 90% of the sales that had happened last year. So that way, like business perspective has changed. The hygiene has become a more important issue. So we are expecting that our detergent and the sanitizer sales will eventually grow up. And again, in this COVID era, it is very important that you realign your fixed cost. I mean, with the same fixed cost, it is very difficult to go ahead. So that is the reason why we are, getting into a lot of areas. We are, cutting down the rentals. Eventually, we will move to more freelance hiring than, temp hiring rather than a permanent positions. Then there has to be a radical change in the way, this admin task. Like
the temp hiring you mentioned is actually music to our ears.
Right. We will have to eventually bring about this robotics technology into our factories as well. So we have the factories in Goa, and we have recently come up with the AC factory as well. So we are now into manufacturing of AC as well. So this was just started, and then it was impacted by COVID. So we will have to bring about this robotics technologies into manufacturing, which will help to reduce dependence on the manpower. And again, coming back to travel costs and all the stuff, so it has to be a total realignment of cost. And apart from this, like, because we are a customer centric business, so we will have to ensure confidence and build confidence among the customers. So, I mean, the technicians and people visiting the customers, they ensure that they put up the mask and take all the safety precautions. They imbibe confidence on the customers, and that is the way you connect with the customers, and then, I mean, do business as well.
Absolutely. I think thanks a lot, Abhijit, for that. Kalpana, from your side, any quick thought from
Sure. So I think
perspective at
one
any?
of the most important aspects in terms of road to recovery and how do we sort of move in the new normal. I think the first thing is to prioritize people's safety, right? And when I'm saying people safety, it is the entire ecosystem of employees, partner network, everything that we have, and continuous engagement with them. You know, sort of addressing concerns in a very, very transparent manner. And I think this will help build, ensure there's a business continuity, and it also reassures all of them. There needs to be flexible arrangements and thereby work policies and other HR policies that we would have sort of built in the pre-COVID era, all of it, which is something that we have to relook. I think something that we're doing at HomeLane, and I know that many of other organizations are also doing, is reshaping, or relooking at the strategy around business continuity. We'll have to find newer ways to do business, very similar to what Mr. Uppal had mentioned. And I think it's very, very imperative right now to communicate to all relevant stakeholders, whether they are customers, telling customers what we're doing and how we are ensuring that, their homes are going to be beautiful, yet we're doing the entire activity in a very, very safe way. Communicating to employee, communicating to the suppliers, communicating to our investors on what are the safety measures that we are taking and how is it that we're embracing the new normal. I think that's very, very important. It's very pertinent right now to be resilient right now, like now, and not later. Not assume that everything will change, because you'll never know what will happen after a couple of months. So it's more important to be resilient now and start planning for a recovery right now, and not wait for another 6, 7, 8 months and assume that we will go back to the way 2019 business was working. And I think one thing that we're looking at HomeLane very, very closely is also to enhance our cybersecurity, given the fact that many of our teams are working from home, and the teams which are working out of our manufacturing centers or our experience centers are also coming in batches. Enhancing the cybersecurity, safeguarding our digital assets, ensuring that there are no breaches, etc. These have also been very, very important for us, and these are some of the things that we are building as our route to recovery.
Amazing. I think more or less, as I kind of called out, we're all in the same storm, but in the different boats. I think even from a TeamLease standpoint, as you all know, we kind of cater to more than 2,000 large customers in the country with about close to 2 lakh associate base, right? And for the past 3 months, the entire payrolling operations of such a mammoth activity has been done working from home, right? So we kind of had a business continuity BCP team, core team, which was formed, and then obviously all the executive leadership, plus also the leadership team was part of it, and there was a constant checkpoint with things are working, as you rightly mentioned, the digital assets, ensuring there is no breach, ensuring there is no breakdown, because people are working from home, but still they need to process plethora of invoices. I think more or less most of the organizations are taking steps in that line, but I think next question that what I have is, which more or less dovetails into, I think, what all of us have been discussing, right? Rajesh, I would start with you here, and considering you kind of come from a technology background, how do you see technology playing a vital role? I think, as we all say, a new normal, people expected invoices to be handed over by hand, but I think today people are absolutely averse even to see somebody on a very close proximity. Right? How are you seeing it, and what do you feel would actually become nomenclature as the time kind of progress? I think we would beat it. Definitely, we would beat this virus at some point of time. But I think certain thing that became a new normal would ideally become a nomenclature. I think, how are you seeing from a technology standpoint? I know you've been a veteran on that side. Just wanted to hear something from you, sir. Rajesh, you're on mute.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. From a technology standpoint, I think we were, as I said, the typical manufacturing is always work from office and maybe only 10% of workforce which is in field used to work from anywhere. But now around 80% of workforce work from anywhere. I think that's, we could do it within 10 days after the lockdown was declared. So I think work from anywhere is becoming new normal for us. That's one. And from an HR standpoint, I think this needs to be institutionalized how we're going to work. So one is the technology piece, which is a little easier to do. But more than that, I think whole model of our whole technology in place, whether it's a collaboration tool to co-work together and collaborate together, maybe all the work monitoring and productivity tools to ensure that we are doing that and all the engagement tools required to manage that people are engaged with a lot of gamification in learning, gamification in engagement, and gamification in the pulse reading around. And also the learning is something which has changed drastically from there and all. We're not no more looking at the classroom, at least in next 1 year time, to handle that. And also how do we really hold that employee development journey, move into the new normal over there. And I think these are a few pieces of technologies where a lot of change is happening. A lot of change has become a new normal in our working over there. And along with that, I think the key learning, which I said earlier also, the agility and flexibility is the new way of working around, and that too doing it securely. Because earlier, the whole security of our IT infrastructure has a new meaning now. Earlier, IT used to be secured from point of view that you secure your firewall and you are as a company secure.
Yep.
Now today, 80% of people are outside that firewall. So the whole security is getting into a new normal of working from a technology standpoint to ensure that we create a so-called no trust network, and you make sure that we still have company information secure and all the knowledge is there in the company and being worked over there. I think a lot of changes are being institutionalized now by the fact that we have to work from anywhere per se and all. That's one big change happening in the organization like ours.
Amazing, sir. I think, thank you. On that context, I think I think there is a lot of customers are coming back to us as well in terms of how we can look at learning in a different manner, right? I think TeamLease, apart from being a staffing giant, we also have learning solutions from our side. Earlier, we had on-site as well. Now, on-site is not there; it's online. Using the SaaS and PaaS platforms and stuff like that. So I think there are massive surge that we are seeing as a company, but actually selling those learning solutions back to the employees, which is upskilling and also ensuring that they stay relevant from an employee perspective. And apart from it, our digital workforce solution, that what we currently have from a TeamLease perspective, is also gaining steam, considering that we all know going forward, I think everything is going to be on the digital platform and stuff like that. Coming to the more or less the last section before we get into the Q&A, this ideally is for the HR folks. And Abhijit, I have a question for you as well from a finance perspective. Maybe I think maybe from a HR standpoint, are you people kind of reimagining the roles of people, right? I think in this, some roles will become redundant, some role would kind of evolve and stuff like that. As kind of HR heads, your view to kind of maintain the fluidity and plus obviously the business continuity from a people perspective. Maybe quickly 1 or 2 minutes from each one of you, Rajesh, Sudeep, and Kalpana.
Okay. So,
yeah. Okay. You want me to start?
Okay. Rajesh, you start.
Okay. I think what I see is the change of our HR role. Big would be focus on employee safety and employee health. I think that is getting a very, very high kind of focus now, and a lot of processes of HR and a lot of that kind of processes within HR is being built to ensure that we do that. That's one. And secondly, a big role change of IT is to how to business continuity being planned. So quick hiring, getting right amount of people or healthy people to the system and track their health per se is a one big change I'm seeing that to happen. So employee safety is the big focus from a HR standpoint of the role. And second is the business continuity and ensure that you are agile in your whole working and all, because today a quick ramp up is something which is very critical for us to look at that, and how do we really manage that as HR is the new way of working, frankly, which is are being institutionalized as the HR organization.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, Sudeep, from your side.
Okay, from HR perspective, I see two things. So one definitely is that the one is the HR delivery model is definitely going to undergo a change because that is being reinvented, as we mentioned earlier. It's going to be contactless delivery model. It's going to be a remote delivery model. So that's one from a HR delivery point of view. Other issue is going to be for HR to deal with is the different level of organizational complexity. Now with work from home becoming a norm and remote working becoming a norm, I think HR will have to look at how do we develop and evolve remote leadership capabilities in our managers, because our managers are also not exposed to this kind of remote leadership. So HR has to work on developing remote leadership capabilities. HR has to work on developing remote learning capabilities, because people who come into your system, they also need to keep themselves, engaged, and they need to upgrade themselves from time to time. And with this, this thing going to stay, we are going to definitely face challenge of organizational design, because current organizations are not designed the way traditional organizations are. They're not designed for a, let's say, 50% people working from home or having remote teams or remote leadership. So HR is also going to face the challenge of relooking at the organizational design, maybe organization culture, which is going to, support this kind of remote work environment. And also other thing would be, we will have to also look at the employee wellness, employee mental health, emotional health, and how do we support our employees, because today when people are working from home or they're spending let's say extended hours at home, the boundary of work and home is blurring actually. Where does your work start and where does it end? I mean, you are at home, and that's going to create a different kind of challenge in the long run. So as HR, we also need to be sensitive that how do we support our employees, how do we give them counseling facilities, maybe a bigger safety net in terms of mediclaim and other facilities. And I also see this whole thing as an opportunity from HR perspective, because this is a time when the employer branding, which is very, very essential, it's going to be determined by how each organization is responding to the current scenario. So the way organizations responses to the current scenario, the way organization is dealing with its employees and with vendors and with the, let's say, the contractual workforce, it's going to impact the employer branding also in the long run. So this is an opportunity also for employers to work on the branding. So these are some of the things, but I would say that, to just sum it up, that people are going to use technology, and they are going to redefine the process using technology. So all these three things will come into picture.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Kalpana, from your side, 1 or 2 minutes on this quickly.
Sure. So I think the first thing that's going to get redefined is talent sourcing, right? So earlier, if we were hiring for technology or product, or for many of the roles, we're going to be asking people to be based out of a particular location or where you're headquartered. I think that's going to change significantly. It doesn't matter who's based out of, right? As far as, because we're onboarding people in different locations right now, who are supposed to relocate to Bangalore. So it really doesn't matter where I'm sourcing for a talent right now, as far as we're able to get a talent to for a particular product that we're looking to build. So I think that's going to undergo a sea change. Employee well-being is going to be more inclusive of emotional well-being and not just physical well-being, right? Because physical well-being is something which is very obvious. It's like stated, but ensuring that there are emotional wellness platforms and constantly sort of letting them know that they are in sort of a, in an ecosystem which will take care of their emotional well-being. I think that's going to be crucial again. The HR team or the people team and organizations will have to figure out innovative ways, to sort of build a sense of belongingness. With remote working, there is going to be a disconnect which will end up coming in terms of organizations' missions. What is it that we want to do? So you are going to be working remote, but how do we ensure that those alignment continues to happen, and thereby ensure that there is engagement levels which are not sort of, going to fizzle out with time. In my mind, these are three large things that, the HR team will also have to cater to. The last one and the big one is going to be that gig workers. How do you ensure that, while they're a part of your ecosystem, I mean, you're not going to keep them outside and you're not going to deal with them very, very differently, right? So how is it that you will deal with the gig workers? I think that's also something everyone will have to be mindful about.
It's a lot. And Abhijit, very interesting question to you, right? I think considering the business is a bit tipsy-turvy, finance obviously has a very pivotal role in kind of making sure there is a cash flow and the profitability, right? And while I think all of us want the best of both worlds, but I think given the current challenge, how you see, I think, the cash flow and the profitability from your standpoint also?
Well, Venkat, I mean that cash flow and profitability issue will actually vary from company to company, the industry you are into. Like from a tourism perspective or from an airline perspective, they are going to be a big hit during this COVID time. But in the other industries, like say for example, consumer durables, uh, technology, for an example, uh, this the other industries that will be benefited out of this, because again, as I told you, that hygiene has become a big issue now. So basically the FMCG industry, I suppose, will actually eventually grow. So I mean, from that perspective, the industry which are impacted, yes, their profitability will be an question. So that is the reason why even SEBI has a requirement wherein they have asked you to elaborate what is the impact of this COVID-19 on your financial positions. So every listed company had to do this as well. So going forward, yes, technology is going to bring a change, and to take this change forward, we need to embrace new things. I mean, new developments in life. So it's all about changes that will actually help the economy to grow. And I personally feel that India overall has large opportunity in hand as of now, because we had a lot of imports from China, and even IFB Industries has a lot of imports. So that way, that manufacturing in India should be one of the, big choices that any industry should go for, and that will actually help our economy to grow faster. So practically and principally, yes, this COVID-19 can be an opportunity for India to go ahead.
Fantastic. I think we have another 6-7 minutes with us. And before I open up for the Q&A, I had a kind of a rapid fire 2 questions which I wanted to ask all of you, which is obviously ringing in everybody's mind, right? I would start with you, Mr. Rajesh. When do we get back to our COVID growth numbers? And you can pick up 2 quarters away. We are 3 quarters away. I know none of us have a magic wand to change things around, but sir, any view from your side quickly, 2 or 3 quarters?
I think nobody can predict, and it's all depend upon how the pandemic goes. In way of working, I think we need to learn how to work with COVID around us. I think that's something which has learned, and that will become a way of life going forward. But business is recovering fast for our industry, and hopefully, I think we should see a big recovery coming by end of this year, I guess.
Right.
But again, it's my personal guess. I still
Absolutely.
don't have anything to substantiate.
Absolutely. Abhijit, from your side, quickly, you see recovery happening and we going. Obviously, from your side, you're seeing a surge in the business, but I think nevertheless, if you want, you can pick it up, or else I can pass this question.
Yeah, see, from a cash flow perspective, people, every companies will have to preserve cash at this point of time, because again, if you don't have cash, it's a question on your sustenance. So
Absolutely.
that is one point which every company must, take that into consideration. And for bigger companies like Maruti, as an example, they are well cash rich, so that's going to help them. But for other startups and all, it's something which is very important to go ahead. But I feel that yeah, it's a dicey thing to conclude right away. But COVID possibly will have an impact till December, if not longer. So till the third quarter, we will have a bumpy road. But I assume that from the fourth quarter onwards, things will drastically improve. You will have to realign everything to get things done.
Cool. Kalpana, any thoughts on your side quickly?
Yeah, so I think, like Abhijit sort of rightly mentioned, from a startup standpoint, I think conserving cash is very, very important. But if I simply have to sort of look at generally the economy and how things will sort of move back, I definitely don't see it happening before March 2021, or until there is like a cure in place more than vaccine. So my guess is around March 2021.
So that.
Well, I would say it depends on, sector to sector. So in my opinion, the sectors which are going to be normal first would be where the capital purchases are involved. So that this moment, let's say your automobile segment or your consumer durable segment, people may only be postponing the purchase decisions. If somebody has to buy a car, would definitely buy a car. It's only question of time. Or somebody has to buy a TV or a motorcycle, will definitely go for it. So I see that maybe Q1 of next year, we should see recovery in the capital goods sector. And definitely the FMCG sector. But where the discretionary spending is involved, let's say, F&B or, holiday or hotels, I think there it's going to take some more time, because people are going to first spend on what's essential and what's long term, and then, save some money for the rainy day or the uncertainties. So I think it's going to be sector to sector is going to be different. But yes, IFB and Maruti or Honda kind of companies are definitely going to, cover up the loss much sooner than others.
Cool, sure. I think we are in the fag end. I would kind of quickly jump into the Q&A, and there are plethora of questions that's kind of coming on my phone, but just wanted to pick up a few. If working from home is going to be the future option, do you think infrastructure in India is sufficient to provide the bandwidth needed to access various systems to enable work from home option? Mr. Rajesh, this is for you.
Definitely it is there. Maybe we were not prepared when this whole thing came up suddenly for everybody, but technologically doing it, I don't think is an issue around and all, and it's easily doable. So
okay.
Not a challenge at all.
Okay. And
but just to add to the point, as an organization, you have to plan it properly, because with proper security, proper trainings, and all those things around, I think those are things need to be planned as an infrastructure. But work from home is doable, and then it's fairly, and then also it's getting institutionalized now, as I said earlier, and also your HR policy supporting that is something becoming a way of life now.
Fantastic. And the other question is, obviously, I think it's been touched upon by various people. Could you also let us know as to what are the new expectations from learning and development teams in respective organizations, and what is that they have to do differently? While I think Rajesh actually touched upon that, and all of you guys touched upon, I think this question can be picked up by anybody. How are you seeing the L&D organization within your companies perform going forward?
Well, I would
anybody.
I would say the L&D is going to support all the initiatives, all the changes that are going to be there in the company. Because when we change our modus operandi, when we change our SOPs, L&D is definitely going to, support the business in terms of upskilling programs, in terms of reskilling programs, and also in terms of multi-skilling programs. So there, L&D is going to play a very, very vital and critical role, and also maybe, enable people to develop their competencies for remote learning. Because right now, most of us are used to a classroom kind of training scenario, but maybe encourage more of web learning or self-learning modules or remote learning, and definitely then L&D has to play a vital role in terms of developing the remote leadership and remote management capabilities.
Fantastic. I think thanks a lot. In the interest of time, I don't think we can take more questions that's obviously coming in. And also, since we touched upon L&D, any requirement of L&D, please don't hesitate. Please call us. We have plethora of solutions as well. Anyway, I think we kind of come to the end. Thanks a lot, each one of you, for kind of taking time. Rajesh, thanks a lot. Kalpana, thanks a lot. Abhijit, thanks a lot. And also Sudeep, thanks a lot. And I wish you guys all the best. Stay safe, and please do take care.